This is Caribbean News Desk. I'm Dennis Chabrol. In this edition, Guyana makes a huge cocaine haul aboard a Europe-bound cargo ship. Haiti's National Assembly calls off debate on political agreement and ratification of prime ministerial appointment. Antigua and Barbuda may have to turn to the International Monetary Fund. There is a more than 100% increase in the number of Cubans trying to reach the United States by boat. Details coming up.
We are one Caribbean, one people, one nation, facing the same destiny. Though separated we are, as one let's come together. One market economy, Caribbean is how it should be. Let's support, carry on for Caribbean unity. It takes you. It takes me for Caribbean unity.
In Guyana, more than 120 kilograms of cocaine have been seized from aboard a Cyprus-registered cargo ship as a result of international cooperation. The ship MV Delta Dieppe was intercepted late Monday night at Linden Upper Demerara River, where it had gone to collect a consignment of bauxite. The vessel arrived in Guyana from neighboring Suriname. Guyana's Customs Chief Kershus Attar says the packets of cocaine were stashed under the wooden floor of a shipping container flat rack. He says that the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime had tipped off anti-drug agents about the likely presence of cocaine aboard the cargo ship. Head of the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit, James Singh, says the ship was expected to call at several European countries after leaving Guyana.
Acting on information that they would have received from their counterparts, Kanu provided assistance to them alongside members of Customs Drug Enforcement Unit. This container was found on board a vessel that had come from Suriname. A check of the vessel showed that this container behind you had contraband inside. As such, we offloaded the container, brought it to Georgetown, where the examination was done, and so far we haven't a final count, but it's well over 120 kilos of cocaine. So the next destination for this would have been Spain, Holland, and Belgium, where the vessel was going.
As United Nations Security Council ambassadors prepare to assess the political situation in Haiti later this month, that country's National Assembly has been forced to call off debate on a political agreement, including giving a stamp of approval to the Prime Minister-designate. The Security Council envoys will visit Haiti from January 23 to 25 to assess the prospect for stability. Currently under the presidency of Chile, the 15-member Security Council wants Haiti to hold long overdue elections. The Security Council back in October 2014 extended a mandate of the UN peacekeeping mission in Haiti, but reduced it by half from about 5,000 to 2,370 troops. The contingent of the United Nations Police will remain unchanged at 2,601 men. Argentina and Chile, which provide a large contingent of troops to MINUSTA, fear the tensions related to further delays in the democratic process and express reservations about downsizing. They warn that tensions are high following the inability to hold elections during the past 3 years. More about the calling off of the debate on the political agreement in this report from Travis Chase.
A lack of quorum has forced Haiti's National Assembly to call off a debate on key points of the political agreement to resolve the crisis of governance, including the ratification of the Prime Minister-designate Evans Paul. Despite hours of intense negotiations, the Parliament could not reach the number of seats needed on Monday to start the session, with several opposition MPs not occupying their seats to protest the way some points in the agreement have been laid out. The Parliament's next session is scheduled for Wednesday, announced Parliament President. Only 70 out of the 94 members of Parliament and 13 out of 20 senators were present. On the lawmakers' agenda is Paul's appointment, amendments to the electoral bill, and the extension of the legislator's term that ends on January 12, among other issues. On December 29, the three branches of the government, executive, legislative, and judiciary, signed an agreement which said that the term of the members of parliament be extended until April 24 and that of the senators to September 9. Paul was nominated by President Michel Martelly after the resignation of Laurent Lamothe, who was forced to step down recently by an advisory committee. The committee was set up by the president to resolve the crisis gripping the country that has been rocked by protests by the opposition, demanding the resignation of the prime minister and president, as well as the holding of fresh elections. Travis Chase reporting for Caribbean News Desk.
In Antigua, the main opposition United Progressive Party, or UPP, is predicting a return to the International Monetary Fund in the face of the country's highest-ever fiscal deficit. In July, Prime Minister Gaston Brown announced the government's decision to pay off a $120 million loan from the IMF and to discontinue borrowing from the fund. But opposition Senator Anthony Stewart, who is also a financial consultant, says the projected deficit of $208 million means that the Prime Minister may eat a serving of humble pie.
I believe that Prime Minister Gaston Brown may have to, as we say in Antigua, eat humble pie and go back to the IMF, because nobody would have believed that the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party government would be presenting a budget with such a big hole, with a deficit of $450 million.
Opposition Senator Anthony Stewart, Trinidadian economist Patrick Watson on Monday called for the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States to intervene and to speak out on the country's 2015 fiscal situation, as it may place a burden on other members of the Eastern Caribbean Monetary Council. Watson agrees with Stewart that the return to the IMF is possible. Grenada will only have to pay half of a $22 million debt it owes to Taiwan. Prime Minister Keith Mitchell says that the government of Taiwan agreed to a payment plan for loans it awarded over a 10-year period. Taiwan's Export-Import Bank had been seeking to recover $22 million from Grenada for loans taken out for a sports stadium, road construction projects, and other developments. Grenada severed ties with Taiwan in 2005 and sided with China as it sought funds following a heavy damage by Hurricane Ivan in 2004. Education in the Barbados school system appears all set to return to normalcy on Wednesday as the island's secondary teachers extended deadlines for a government to deal with their grievances. The Barbados Union of Teachers, which represents most of the secondary school teachers, had called out its membership Tuesday morning to a meeting to address issues they have with the management styles of principals of two schools and what they saw as a long-delayed appointment to substantive posts of some colleagues. Union President Pedro Shepherd was, however, on radio early Tuesday morning assuring listeners that there was no intention to disrupt classes by calling the meeting and they were not yet on strike. He emerged from the meeting, which had over 1,000 teachers, later to tell the media of deadlines for a government action ranging from 2 to 6 weeks. The union has given government 6 weeks to appoint the 436 temporary teachers, 2 weeks to probe the issues with the principals, and another 2 weeks to decide their fate. But despite Shepherd's claim of no intention to disrupt classes, the principal of Parkinson's Memorial Secondary, Jeff Brooms, who was at the center of one of the union disputes, told the government-owned TV station CBC that his school was affected to the extent that classes had to be suspended because only 26 of the 61 teachers turned up for duty.
Of course, it's disruption because the Barbados Unity have this meeting with members of staff of different schools. Today we have 26 teachers plus Mrs. Bavell, who is one of the more senior persons, and myself here at school. The deputy is not here. Apparently, I can only assume that she has gone to the meeting. I've heard nothing at all, which is somewhat disappointing to me. But we have order in the school.
He said the skeleton staff of teachers maintained order in the school with the assistance of prefects. The call for teachers to abandon classrooms and meet Tuesday morning on these simmering disputes had left many across the island expecting an announcement of industrial action that may include a nationwide strike by secondary teachers. A total of 481 illegal Cuban immigrants reached or were found on United States territory in December 2014. a 100% increase compared to the same month a year ago. The U.S. Coast Guard says that last week, U.S. authorities repatriated 121 Cuban immigrants who were intercepted in homemade rafts and other small boats in 7 different operations. Coast Guard 7th District Commander Rear Admiral Jake Korn says that individuals must have a visa or other permission to travel to the States, and anyone located at sea will be returned to Cuba in accordance with immigration laws. Korn added that the recent announcements by U.S. President Barack Obama would not change the wet foot, dry foot immigration policy. According to that policy, which has been enforced since 1996, Cubans who succeed in reaching U.S. soil can remain there, while those intercepted at sea, though they may only be a few feet from the shore, are sent back to Cuba. This law can only be changed by Congress, Korn said, while reporting the repatriation of the 121 Cuban migrants to Bahia de Cabañas in western Cuba. Last month, Obama announced the beginning of a process to normalize diplomatic relations with Cuba, which had been severed since 1961, citing the failure of the isolation policy for more than 50 years. The Panama Canal Authority has published its new toll proposal for ships passing through the interoceanic waterway after April 2016, and it opened a period to receive formal comments on the new fees. The authority said the proposal includes a significant reduction in tolls according to the ship's capacity and price differences on the basis of the ship's sizes. The Panama Canal Authority's board approved the tolls on December 24, and the consultation period includes a public hearing on February 27. Individuals or parties interested in participating in the hearing should submit their applications in writing before February 9. New tolls will be implemented on the current canal and also on a third transit line to become available when the new canal locks become operative, the authority said in a statement. Panama Canal Administrator Jorge Luis Cayano says the proposal, as approved, preserves the waterway's competitive edge, establishes a fair route price, and facilitates the canal's authority goal of providing flawless service to the ship's global shipping industry and the maritime community. Under the proposal, each market segment will pay fees based on different standards in accordance with the needs and requests of clients. Some 14,000 cargo ships with a capacity of up to 4,000 containers transit the Panama Canal every year. But starting in 2016, when the new locks become operative, the waterway will be able to accommodate ships with a capacity of up to 14,000 containers each.
We are 15 states with a common goal, a unified purpose to face the world, enriching lives, empowering people, creating a strong economic region. No matter where you're from, no hassle, just freedom. Whether business, school, or pleasure, we will benefit together. The CARICOM single market, good for you and me. The CARICOM single market, good for you and me. The CARICOM single market, good for you and me. Oh yeah!
And that's it for this edition of Caribbean News Desk. Don't forget you can visit our website at caribnewsdesk.com or on our Facebook page. We're at facebook.com/Carib News Desk. You can also follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/Demwaves. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dennis Shabro.